twilight, shadows fall, dimming the light. Whispers grow, a rising tide. Vindicator, where do you hide? Steel is over, heart ablaze. Through smoky haze, he sets his gaze. Justice calls a burning need. A city's wounds he vows to heed. From cobbled streets to tower high, Vindicator takes to the sky. Strikes back with iron hands, defender of this promised land. Breaks the chains, sets spirits free. Vindicator for all to see. Seek high! Seek high! Seek high! Whispers turn to thunderous roar.
Right, time to launch you into orbit. Wait!
Slams the door on
There he goes.
tyranny's cruel, grasping hand. He fights for freedom, takes a stand with courage born of darkest night. He ignites hope, a guiding light. Strikes back with iron hands, defender of this promised land. Breaks the chains, sets spirits free. Vindicator for all to see. Though battles rage and darkness reigns, hope's ember burns within his veins. He'll never yield, he'll never fall. He answers freedom's clarion call. Strikes back with iron hands, defender of this promised land. Breaks the chains, sets spirits free. Vindicator for all to see. A symbol etched against the moon. Vindicator rising soon.
Hello everybody, how you all doing? So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna play the video in full, Ben Habib's full video for the people that haven't seen it. And then we'll go and have a look at some of the comments on that video. And then we'll go and have a look at some of the comments on my video that I did, because I've invited some people in. Some people have said on that video that I've been open-minded, or that Rupert Lowe had this coming to bed, this is all Rupert's fault. I don't see how, but all those people are quite welcome to come into this live stream in a bit. I'll drop the link and you can debate me and you can put your points forward and we can have a discussion about it. That sound good? That sound like an itinerary? Good. Right, so first off, we're going to play the video. Hi chat, how you all doing? Hey, Craig, everybody. I think we're all disappointed. I think we can all agree, no matter what side you want, this should have been done behind closed doors. I have a sneaking suspicion that Ben Habib has been very, very badly advised by certain members from his college. And because, to be honest with you, the words that were being used sounded like certain individuals in their rant that they did a rant about in a live stream they did. So take that as what you will, but for me, this has all been done behind closed doors and sorted out in private, not washing their dirty laundry out in public for everybody to see, because all this does is give our enemies ammunition and splits the vote and just causes yet more division, which it's doing now. It's causing division. If you look at my comments on my video, it's split. I've been in the US, sick at home listening intently. Okay, thanks, Jason. Right, let's look at the video in its entirety, shall we? I'm just going to play it and let you guys watch it. I'm not going to intervene. I'm just going to play it in its entirety for those that haven't seen it.
It's been 9 days since Rupert Lowe declared he was going to convert Restore Britain from a movement to political party. And it's been 8 days since I made an open offer on air to Rupert Lowe to consider a merger with Advance UK. I've had no response to that open offer. The only response made was in public by Rupert Lowe on X, in which he said, I and members of Advance UK would be free to join Restore Britain. But here's the issue, Rupert. I don't know what Restore Britain is. I've had a look at your website, but there's no draft constitution there. Nothing setting out how the leadership is appointed, how the leadership is held to account, how policies are made, how people to your policy-making committees are appointed, how you're going to set up your national network, how people are going to be recruited into the party. None of this is clear on your website. There's no draft constitutional document. The only document about which I'm aware are the Articles of Association of your country, what you've got on Companies House. And that shows a company limited by one share, private limited company, limited by one share, which you own, Rupert. You are the owner and dictator of Restore Britain. And I do also know, and people need to know, that you don't believe in a democratic political party. You've said that to me yourself, and your own spokesmen have been on air for the last week saying that actually Rupert Lowe can be trusted to get this done. We don't need a democratic process. I think one of your spokesmen referred to you as Caesar, which is a completely ridiculous turn of phrase, if you don't mind me saying so. The only way the democracy of this country can be restored is through a democratic process. No dictatorial political party will restore our democracy. That's where reform went so wrong. Reform was Farage, Farage was reform. It still is, whatever he might say. And if Restore Britain is going to be Lowe and Lowe is going to be Restore Britain, you too will fail. And that will be disastrous for this country. We've got one chance to save this country. It needs to be done through serious principled politics. It can't be done through a dictatorship at Restore Britain. Now, the other thing which isn't clear is what is Restore Britain? What is its constitution? That's not clear. What do you believe in? What's your political philosophy? I can tell you our political philosophy. We believe in the nation state of Great Britain and Northern Ireland in all its parts and for all its people. The restoration of our Christian constitution and culture, the restoration of our freedoms, freedom from indoctrination of our children, freedom of speech, the restoration of our democracy, which can only be done democratically, getting rid of the international institutions out of the fabric of our country, getting rid of all the domestic bureaucracies and quangos that have got in the way of holding our elected officials to account, and restoring our criminal justice system so that we have equality under the law. That's what we believe in. It's very clear. It's set out in our constitutional documents, but I don't know what you believe in. And I'm laboring this point because in the last week, there's been what I can only regard as a tilt towards ethno-national sort of sound bites from some of your spokesmen. I'm not for a second suggesting that you're prejudiced based on the color of someone's skin or that they are. I'm not suggesting that. But ethno-nationalism, which effectively means in the United Kingdom, English nationalism, Scottish nationalism, Welsh nationalism, and Ulster nationalism, will end up breaking the United Kingdom. If those are the voices you want to give voice to, you will end up breaking the United Kingdom. You will deliver for the EU what it's been so desperate to do, which is our breakup. And mass migration, about which I'm so concerned, about which you're so concerned, is actually a move towards breaking up our country. The only way we can stand tall, the only way we will restore the United Kingdom, see off these forces that wish to destroy us, is by standing together. We can't have any form of ethno-nationalism as an agenda. It will end up defeating our very aim of a sovereign, proud, prosperous United Kingdom. It can't happen. So Rupert, if you want a merger with Advance UK, I don't suppose you do, but if you want any coming together of our membership or me or anything, you've got to make your position clear. And let me just tell you what my position is. I made a commitment when I set up Advance UK that I would lead it. And I would stand true, stand firm, stand with fortitude, would not bend in any opposition.
I just want to stop it there, right? Because that's not what he said at the beginning. At the beginning, he was a very reluctant leader. At the very beginning, Ben Habib stated that he set Advance up for Rupert Lowe to lead it. Ben Habib didn't even want to lead Advance UK in the very beginning. So that's bullshit.
I would not bend to any opposition until I delivered our mission statement. And I declare that again today to all our members and to everyone listening. I will not bend. I will not give in. I will stand for this country until my last breath is given. So if you want any accommodation with us, Rupert, if you care for the country, Rupert, do the right thing. Make your position clear. Don't be a clickbait merchant. Adopt serious principled politics.
And that was the video. So we'll have a look at some of the comments. So Tommy Robinson, these discussions should happen in private. Hope you guys get something sorted. Liam Tubbs, I hope this leads to serious conversation behind closed doors and an agreeable solution made. The UK is in desperate need of collaboration, of strength, and we're running out of time. I hope this is the video that gets you a face-to-face job. I don't think it is. I don't think it will be. And whoever advised him to make this video and come at this sort of line, why even mention ethno-nationalism? Why even mention it? There's no need to bring it up. It was done to be passive-aggressively to do some kind of guilt by association. There's no need to bring it up. And the only reason that was brought up is because certain college members have brought that up in the past. And we all know who those people are. Ben had no need to do this video. All down to a band with bad, yeah, it just paints him in a bad light. Ben and his immaturity party members need to realise that theirs isn't the best option, isn't. Rupert made his position clear. He didn't want to set up a party straight away, but Ben couldn't wait. Yeah. Well, let's look at what Rupert Lowe stated, right? He said, look, I'm going to get this grooming gang inquiry off the ground, which is going to take a lot of his time. That's what he's been doing. He's still doing that right now. He's still publishing the bits that need to be published. And you've got Ben here stating that you should have set this party up in a week, even though it took him 8 months to do it. It took him 8 months to set up the advance party. And it's like what I said in my video. If you want to watch a full breakdown of that video that you've just watched, there's a video on my channel right now. Go and listen to how I critiqued that video. But yeah, Ben doesn't realise that Rupert is on stage 1. And Ben's talking about stage 535 down the line that Rupert hasn't even touched upon yet. I suspect this as well. The unelected college members, they're just worried, right? The college members are worried that they won't have the same influence in Restore Britain as they have in Advance UK. So to me, it's them putting their egos before country, because they want a good shot at influence. And I stated this before in videos. The reason Rupert didn't want to merge with Advance UK is because some of the college members had already had a go at him. They'd already done it in live streams. And he would have seen that. And the thing is, Ben Habib has shared live streams with these people, and he hasn't gone on record to publicly distance himself from those comments, where one of them publicly called publicly called Rupert an ethno-nationalist, and the host of that show passively aggressively tried to guilt by association call Rupert Lowe an ethno-nationalist. And let's not forget, right, because of all this, because of the neo-Nazi comments that the mayoral candidate for Reform has levied against Rupert Lowe, he's had death threats. This is what prompted me to make that video today. Normally I wouldn't have bothered, but it's the sheer stupidity of giving credence to those sort of comments. It's the same thing the Reform Party is doing to Rupert Lowe at the minute. There was no need for Ben Habib to mention ethno-nationalism, because anybody with half a brain realises that you can't blame a party for the people who support it. I think Rupert Lowe's made it quite clear who he wants to remove from the country and why. He's already done that. He's already made that perfectly clear. So for Ben to come out and say, I don't understand, well, you're not listening then, are you? You're not listening to what he's actually saying on things. It just does my head in. Hello, mate. How you doing? It just does my head in. let's have a look at some more of these comments, because there's a response here that people need to see. So this is Jardine. Rupert is not an ethno-nat. He just wants to deport all the rapist groups and their families, like you probably want to, right, Ben? Just chill, man, and sort it out behind closed doors. This is the general consensus. This should all be sorted out behind closed doors. But let's have a look at this. Let's have a look at Rupert.
About his accusation that you want to deport entire communities, including people who were born in Britain.
I think he knows that's rubbish. What happened with Nigel, Kevin, is that when I was speaking, he asked me to go and speak in Kevin's constituency in Northwest Essex in, it would have been January 25, which I agreed to do. And I gave a speech there. You can look that up. He tried to take out of my speech, he tried to edit my speech, and I spent some time in a hotel room talking to him. He tried to take the word mass out of deportation, and I noticed that Zia Yusuf is now talking about mass deportations. And what he also tried to do was take out of my speech my line, which said that I would deport those people who knew that a member of their family was perpetrating rape on white, working class, underage English girls who had been groomed. I would deport the families of those people who are foreigners, and I would deport those people who have dual nationality. Anyone who was aware this evil was happening and they didn't report it to the police, then I said I would be deporting them. He tried to take that out of my speech as well, and I refused to take that out. I did take the word mass out. If you check the speech, I took the word mass deportations out. And as you know, I think with Nigel yesterday, the mask slipped, Kevin. He knows what they tried to do to me. They made 2 false witness statements about me. They tried to send me to prison. They accused me of having early onset dementia. They said there was evidence of bullying in my office. And look, if Nigel had said to me, "You're not for me, go and be an independent and sit on the bench behind me," and as Ayub Khan said, watch the rubbish build up in front of me, then ultimately, which I thought was a great line from him, ultimately, I would have accepted that. Look, we don't all get on and share the same views, but I have never suggested deporting whole communities of people with British passports. That is palpably rubbish, and he knows it.
So there you go. That's from Rupert's own mouth. And that was said a long time ago. So why is Ben Habib bringing up the ethno-nationalism rubbish when he knows too well that's Rupert's stance on things? It seems to me like this is a very big knee-jerk reaction from Ben Habib. And I don't think the people that advise him have advised him very well, to be honest with you. Well, look at some more. There's some more comments down here somewhere. Sidney Jones, how pathetic. Get it sorted in private. Wind it in. You're running a political party. What's the problem? Do you and others want to be leaders? A bit of ego here and there. The people deserve Restore, and they deserve England. Aim high, vote low. Couldn't agree more. And you can't argue with this either. Landier, yeah, I can see why they didn't want to merge with you. Would have been an absolute nightmare. You can't fault these people for stating the obvious, can you? And it's like, this is Mr. H Reviews. Oh, for goodness sake, Ben, you made an offer. You feel rejected. Now you're degenerating their party. Says a lot about you. Offering to merge with a party that you're now lambasting. Just pipe down. It's embarrassing, honestly. And this is a good point, right? Rupert Lowe had no issues joining this party on Saturday, but now he's coming out and saying how undemocratic it is. So if it's undemocratic, why do you even want to merge with it in the first place? That's my question. If Ben Habib has all these issues with Restore Britain, then why is he even suggesting a merger in the first place? Doesn't make any sense, does it? Graham Moore there. Hopefully, you're having Graham Moore on the live stream soon. Myself and Tom will hopefully launching this week our new podcast together. So we're going to try and sort something out. But yeah, watch out for that one. But yeah, everybody's saying the same thing. Why would he consider a merger with you? You're a tiny party. This is pathetic and childish. And the thing is, right, it's the same situation that UKIP had with Advanced. Nick Tenconi reached out to Advanced and said, you know, let's talk. Let's talk about unity. This was even before Rupert Lowe even suggested forming a party. And now, what did Advanced UK do to UKIP? They just ignored them. There was no response from them. And so now Ben Habib is getting exactly the same response from Rupert Lowe. He doesn't like it. It's exactly the same thing. Yeah, Andy, and we'll try and get him on, mate. We've been talking, and we'll try and get him on at some point because it's going to be very interesting. Listen to what he's got to say on things. Basil, who is highly regarded, and my days. Yeah. Good to hear, definitely. It'd be good to have you on sometime as well, Andy. If you want to come on, you're quite welcome. We can arrange something. You come on, we can have a chat and discuss things. Be interesting. How you doing, everybody? Right, let's get back to some of these comments. Because there is a response here from Charlie Downs. So, director and spokesman, Restore Britain. So this is what he's got to say. Ben, you've had a response, and Rupert has made it clear to you on multiple occasions that all conversations should take place behind closed doors. And he wants to work with you. Going public like this, again, hurts our cause. And listen to what Ben says about this. I will flatter you with one response, and one response only. What an ego. That is like something that Farage would say, isn't it? What an ego. He has not engaged me privately in any meaningful way. I have no option but to go public. Why? Why have you got no option to go public? If he says he's going to get to you and arrange something, then maybe just keep your powder dry and wait to see what happens. It's been a week, Ben. It's been a week. And you're expecting to get everything done in a week. You know, like I said before, look, I've got no horse in this race. Everybody knows how I feel politically in this country. You know, Rupert Lowe has got my ear, he's got my attention, but he's got a long way to go before he gets my vote. But this here, you're expecting a man that's just done a grooming gang inquiry, that's done a lot of work regarding that. He's got a constituency to run. He's an MP in Parliament. And then you're asking him to set a party up. It's going to take time. You can't rush things. Infrastructure takes time to build. And like I said before, you're asking him to do everything in a week, which you took 9 months to do. It's just ridiculous. It's absolutely insane. Is there any more responses? I don't know what else to say. I really don't know what to say. Just looking at some of the comments. Yeah, can do. Right, you know what? I'm going to drop the link. Anybody wants to come in? I want to see some of those people that will call it. One person might. You know what I'll do? I'll actually get my comments up on the screen. I'll have a look at some of the comments. I think I actually upset a few people, but I don't care. I don't care. If you're going to make passive-aggressive comments about Restore Britain being ethno-nationalist and Rupert Lowe being ethno-nationalist by trying to do the Restore Britain far-left way of doing things, by guilt by association, then yeah, I'm going to get angry about that. Because what have we seen? What have we seen happen to people where this happens? We've already had the London mayoral candidate for reform calling Rupert Lowe and Restore Britain neo-Nazis. That sort of rhetoric gets people killed. Look at Charlie Kirk. Look what happened to him. It's irresponsible. And Rupert Lowe's already had death threats because of this. And yet Ben Habib comes out and just reiterates that sentiment yet again. It's dangerous. That's what prompted me to make this video and do this live stream today, is because it's dangerous. It's not only the double standards that Ben Habib seems to have, it's dangerous to do this sort of stuff, especially in the climate we're now living in this country. It really is. See, this is why I want to get Graham Moore on, because this is what I don't understand. No, you know what? I'll leave it because I want to go into that with him, and I want him to be on so he can explain it to me better rather than me try and do it here. I think he has. I think this has done far more damage to Advance UK than it's done to Restore Britain. The union cannot be broken at all. Right, I'm going to drop the link in the chat. I'm just going to drop the link in the chat. Anyone wants to come in and have a word, they can do. And we'll see what happens. Right, I've dropped the link in the chat. Anybody wants to come in? If you want to disagree with me, disagree with me. I don't mind. We'll have a debate. We'll have a civil debate about it. I want to get everybody's views on this. I especially want to get people in that want to try and defend Ben Habib's position, because that would be interesting. I'm in Scotland and we need to end devolution. That's what I've been saying all along. Wow, what? Mandelson arrested. Wow. Ben has blown a chance of merger now, if there ever was one. I don't think there ever was one. I think the best thing Ben could have done would have been to dissolve the party and join Rupert as deputy leader. That would have been stronger. Can you imagine the boost that would have given to Restore Britain if that was the case? Forget the college, because it seems they're only looking after their own interests in this. If they really wanted democracy, he should have ignored the college and said, you know what, we'll put this vote to the advanced membership. Do you want us to merge? Forget the college, put it to the membership. You know, the membership that's actually putting the money into the party, the people that are giving you their support. And let's not forget, right, times are hard at the minute. So those people deserve a vote. They're paying a lot of money into the party. Give them the vote. No, he won't. You know why? And I was discussing this the other day with Tom, because everybody wants to be Churchill. Everybody wants to be Winston Churchill. Everybody wants to be the one that saves the country. And in doing so, they're consigning our country to history. That they're going to destroy the country because they simply cannot put ego aside and just unite for the common cause. I'll drop the link again in case people missed it. If you want to come in, have a chat, you're quite welcome to do so. Meantime, we'll have a look at some more of these comments. This is exactly, everybody's saying the same thing. This is what Rupert has been busy with, plus setting up a new party. That's been a week. Your impatience has turned into anger. He's been doing a grooming gang inquiry. He's been making sure that these young girls get heard. That this report, that as important as it is, comes out. That's what he wants to do. What nonsense, Ben? I respect you, but you're coming across very petulant. Restore Britain is not even 2 weeks old. All what's been happening now is we lose more and more members, supporters to restore. And here we go, look, suggesting that FMATs are seeking to destroy the union rather than preserve our white European Christian heritage. Who's come in? How you doing, mate? How you doing, Stefan? You all right, buddy?
Hello, Vin. It's just a quick one, mate. I won't be able to stay long, but yeah, just on the this scenario when you've got Ben Habib, and it's just like the ego thing. It's not what we need at the minute. Don't need this sort of rhetoric, this way of speaking. You need to unite, not carry on about who's going to be leader. I mean, let's face it. Rupert Lowe is the man. He's the only political solution left for any of us to get things right in this country.
But the thing is, Stefan, right? He's focused. Look what he's been doing lately. He's had to get the grooming gang inquiry out. That's the most important thing he's been trying to do for the country.
Yeah.
What do you think to Ben criticising, saying, "Oh well, you've not done all the things that I've done in 9 months in a week"?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's petty, pathetic stuff. It's not what your focused people need to be doing. You need to be concentrating on the tasks at hand and knowing that you're singing from the same hymn sheet. And they're quite clearly not. This thing about ego, I don't think Rupert Lowe's interested in ego. He's interested in the things that he's drawn out and said that he will do. That is what you need to focus on. And like you say, we need truth and honesty. You cannot have a government, you can't have politicians, you can't have any of that without honesty, truth and transparency. Law and justice.
I'll put this to you, right, Stefan, right? So say that you wanted to do a merger. Rupert Lowe's been looking at advanced, right? Because he probably knows what's been going on. He looks at the college. He sees that people within that college have been bad-mouthing him and calling him an ethno-nationalist. Would you want to merge with a party that's been doing that?
No, of course you wouldn't. Like I say, if you're not singing from the same hymn sheet, then, you've got to look at the things you've got in common rather than your differences. And that's all I'll say on the matter. I'll have to leave it at that. I've got something to dwarf in. Sorry, mate.
All right, buddy, no problem. Nice. Thanks for coming in, mate.
Bye, mate.
Bye, mate. But I'll drop the link again. Anybody wants to pop in, have a chat, you can do. Open noise debates only. Ben has shown two colours. Stamp. That's what it looks like. And that's what it looks like to everybody, doesn't it? Look at a few of these comments. So I was just covering this. So suggesting that ethnics are seeking to destroy the union rather than preserve the white European Christian heritage is really a new level from you. Trying to desperately subvert the real British right wing. All you have to do at this point, mate, is fold advance. Tell your supporters to support Restore instead. Join the party. Whether you get an important job or not is less important than everyone standing together. How can you say it more reasonable than that? If you truly want this country back, if you truly believe and want this country back, wouldn't you do that? Considering you're watching how Restore Britain is growing, you can see it growing out exponentially. And what do? You throw your toys out the pram, stamp your feet, and try and muddy the waters instead of trying to work with them. So, you look at some of these comments, it's not looking good. Now look at some of the comments. No one in the college has said that. Said what? The link's there. If you want to come in and discuss what you want to say, then discuss it. I'm open to debate. I'm open to people coming in, disagreeing with me. I never gave Rupert a chance to get the party up and running just over a week since it was launched. That's right. And people can't see how busy he is. I don't think people realise how busy it is to be an MP. All the things he has to do. He passively, aggressively insinuated it. And people within the college have actually said that. They've tried to do the guilt by association with Rupert Lowe, with ethno-nationalists, saying, well, if you've got ethno-nationalists following your party, that must mean you're an ethno-nationalist. He is. Hey Capricorn, how you doing? Is your mic on? I can't hear you. Your mic's not working.
Mm.
Yeah, you're in the live stream. You just need to switch your microphone on because I can't hear you.
Am I?
Oh, there you go. Can hear you now. Yeah, you're in the live stream.
Am I?
Yeah, you're in the live stream now. Yeah.
Oh. Can you
Hello.
see me?
Can't see you. No, it's black. The screen's completely black, but I
Oh,
can hear
that's
you.
all right. That's all right. I didn't know. I thought I'd, I thought I'd logged out by accident. Oh yeah, I can see the little microphone on. No, I feel like it's really escalated now. I've noticed that even the likes of Landor and even Tommy's put a message on there. This discussion should be in private. I think about earlier, it's getting like the Jeremy Kyle show with Ben now. It's not good. It doesn't look good at all. And I think a lot of people will be put off by that. And there's a lot of discussion about the immigration policy as well. No one's read it, but they've all assumed that all these people that are here with British passports who have jobs, they feel that they're going to get deported now. And they're not reading the policy right.
Well, this is how they're trying to smear him. They're trying to say, I mean, I played the video itself in his own words, what he's actually said about that. And that was said weeks ago when he was talking about how Reform were trying to smear him with exactly the same tactic, with saying that he wants to deport entire British citizens and families. Like, it's not the case, no. What he was talking about was the people involved in the grooming gangs and the people that knew what was going on within them.
Yes. And to be honest, he's got a point, hasn't he? Because these, I can't say people because they're not, these perpetrators have been hidden and well protected in their communities. And I'm sorry, if they have got wives and children, then tough.
The thing is, though,
I'm coming from the angle for the victim or the survivor, whichever they want to be called. So I'm coming from that angle only, and that's who I'm thinking about. It's gone on far too long. Enough's enough. No more now.
Yeah, the thing is, right, people don't really understand what the community is like within the Muslim community. It's very much if you speak out against them, you will get shunned, you'll get kicked out of the community. And that's what keeps it all together. It's a patriarchy. It is a patriarchy. Women can't speak out. If they speak out, they'll get honor killed most likely, and it's a dangerous situation to be in. But they do need to go. We don't need these colonies in our country anymore, do we? They need to go, and I hope Rupert Lowe goes further. And I think he did actually say that. He said that anybody that refuses to integrate or doesn't like our way of life, they'll be shown the door. It's like you don't belong here then.
Yeah. And I believe that he will do what he says he's going to do. I believe him totally. He's just gone through that investigation. He finished on Friday. And if he's seen what I've seen in the Epstein files, and I have seen and heard the victims and survivors of many rape gangs, and to delve in so deep, I think that's really, well, it's got to him right to his core, hasn't it, really? And he's just had enough.
Yeah, it's got to be done. I mean, it's what President Trump's doing in America right now. And I think Rupert Lowe's been brutally honest as well. He's saying it's not going to be easy. It's going to hurt. I think he knows that
Yeah.
in order to do what needs to be done, it's going to. He may have to bring in what's it called?
Ice. That.
No, not ice. Martial law to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. I've got a feeling that'll have to happen, or at some level it's going to have to happen, because otherwise, I mean, I don't know his exact way of how he's going to do it. Whether he's going to do it in stages, like, okay, right, all the foreigners and the prisoners go now.
I think that's what he's going to do. And what he's also said is that he's going to make it an unwelcome environment for people to operate the way they're operating now. So they'll just he'll ban the burqa, he'll ban halal meat, and he'll clamp down on these extremist mosques. He'll just make it impossible for them to operate within the country. And he said most of them will actually deport themselves.
Yeah.
Because they can't exist here anymore.
I think so. And I think that he will eventually have a really, really strong team behind him. And people will, I mean, it might be a case of people volunteering to help, you know.
Yeah, I would be straight up there volunteering with my background. Because at some point, these people are going to go to ground, you're going to need to hunt them down. And that's what I did out in Iraq. I was hunting insurgents and stuff like that. So,
well, that's it. He's going to have the pick of the fine bunch because he's got all the veterans. I mean, I'm not going to speak on behalf of a veteran, but, you know, the possibility is there, isn't it?
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I think he's already got the people to do it. He's got some good military. I mean, he'll have intelligence and that sort of thing. But the most important thing he needs to do is if and when he gets into Parliament, is to get rid of all those permanent secretaries of the civil service. They need to go.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely agree with you on that one. It needs rehauling. Well, yeah, we've said that before.
Right, I'm going to drop the link again because I've got some people that want to come in.
Yeah, you can cut me off now.
You sure?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have a channel? Do you do videos or anything? Do you want me to give you a shout out?
No, I don't do any. No.
Okay.
This
I'm really glad you subscribed to my channel, and I really appreciate your comments. Thank you.
All right, bye.
Thank you. Bye. Right, I've dropped the link, so if anybody wants to come in, anybody that disagrees with me can come in. I've got no problems with that whatsoever. Sorry, I've arrived late, didn't get the memo. Right, so to recap, Rupert Lowe has lost his collective shit. Not Rupert Lowe. Ben Habib has lost his collective shit, and basically, like the title says, Ben Habib attacks Rupert Lowe and restore Britain. So, make of that what you will. Yeah. Brilliant. Richard and Paul Thorpe needed. Yeah, I won't go that far. The 700 strong Muslim, yeah. The fifth column within Westminster, they all need to go. So I'm just staying on because there's somebody that I want to chat with. Somebody that disagrees with me, I want them to come in, try and defend Rupert. Keep saying Rupert Lowe, Ben Habib's position. You did really well, Capricorn. You know, it's daunting coming into a live stream. It really is, to put your voice out there and your actual opinion. It takes guts to do it. Right, let's have a look at some of my comments on my video that I've gotten. I'll just click that off a minute. I'll just mute that a minute while I get rid of it. I don't need to play that really. Play that and get rid of that advert. Then I'll share the screen. Because I want to have a look at some of these comments. Because most people are actually just stating what I'm stating. I think they're just disappointed in Ben and just think that this should have all been done behind closed doors. A lot of people saying that, you know, he got a response, he doesn't like the response that he got, which is tough, isn't it? So we'll have a look at some of these comments. Just have a look at some of the chat before I go and have a look at the comments. There's no defence for the actions of last week by some advanced people. No, there isn't. I'm disappointed, to put it mildly, with Ben Habib. I think a lot of people are. A hell of a lot of people are. Right, so look at some of these comments then. Can everybody read that? I'll try and enlarge it for you all. Down, there we go. Better. Yeah, the comments have gone now. No, that one. Right, okay. Bit too large. Oops. Take it down a bit. There we go. Should be all right now. Let's have a look. Hello, buddy.
Good evening, mate. Listen,
Hello.
I'm not being funny. I'm going to have to come back in about 10 minutes. Got baby in arms, okay? But I just wanted to say that I'm very willing to debate, and I appreciate the fact that you're letting everyone on. Okay, give me a month.
No
Sorry
problem, mate.
about
Just come back in when you're ready, and I'll let you back in. All right, mate.
Very much.
Sad to see Ben join Operation Defame Restore. People take it the same way. That comment about the ethnic nationalism, people just take it away. People just disappointed in the way that he's reacted. Yep, you've got to look, just have a look at some of the people that disagree with me. I hope this was AI, so was I. A chap called Paul Burgess resigned from the college as was restricted to what he could say. That's very revealing, isn't it? That's very revealing. Why does it keep doing that? Videos. Trying to get some of the comments that disagree with me. Bear with me. I've got to say as well, because the channel's growing, I'm finding it harder to keep up with the comments. I do try to respond to everybody, and even if I don't respond to you, I will give you the thumbs up and the heart to say that I've actually read it. So don't take the heart as me endorsing what you've said. It's just me acknowledging that I've read your comment. Shameful speech after just 8 days. Can't stand this guy anymore. Rupert for PM. So this is the guy that's going to be coming on soon. This is the guy I'm going to give the right to reply, because he said, "Sorry, mate, but calling Ben a scumbag is well out of order." So we'll play my responses so you can hear what I've actually said. So this here. Here's mate. He is a scumbag. If you don't like it, unsubscribe, mate. Unsubscribe. If you can call Rupert Lowe and Restore Britain ethno-Nazis, or insinuate that they could be ethno-Nazis. I've not spelt it wrong. This is just a transcript. This is just the AI in YouTube just making a piss poor attempt at translating what I've said in a voice message. But it says this, not particularly adult of you. Certainly Rupert has brought this to a head, whether you like it or not. I thought you were someone who debates and looks at things from a non-biased. As you said, you have no horse in the race. Well, it's proving hard to believe, to be honest. So if you want to read that, you can read it. I'll just leave it there. Like, it's just poorly transcribed. I think people see this the same way. So this is the guy that's going to be coming into the live in a bit. But I want to give him the right to reply. Advanced UK College, definitely an issue for me. Left Advanced for Restore Britain. All of us need to go back to Restore Britain. This has not gone well, has it? It's not gone well for Ben Habib, and this was the only way it was going to go. It shouldn't have even been put in a video. This should have all been done behind closed doors. Ben Habib should have had a bit of patience and realised the situation that Rupert Lowe is in. He's just come off the back of a grooming gang inquiry that's taken up most of his time. He's an MP, he's dealing with constituents, he's doing surgeries in his constituency, he's doing other projects and that kind of stuff. Don't forget, he's also trying to launch prosecutions against the people involved in this grooming gang inquiry. So he's doing a lot in the background. Yeah, I don't know who was advising him, but whoever advised him really badly. People saying Rupert might be undemocratic, but look at Donald Trump. He's a one-man army with advisors to help. Yep. I joined Advance to help Ben build a party, but as soon as Rupert Lowe launched Restore Britain, I was a no-brainer for me. Yeah. I don't want to burst Advance UK's bubble, but they just don't have the momentum. If they were going to be the driving force in this country, they would be at 80,000 members now. They would be nearly on 100,000 members, wouldn't they? They're just not. That's unfortunate. I will take it. Everyone here is all about Restore. I will stick with Advance. But that's your choice. Never saying you can't do that. If that's your choice, that's your choice. I'm not here to tell anybody how they should vote or which party they should be a member of. I'm just pointing out the inconsistencies that have been brought to the surface by Ben Habib. I think it's unrealistic to want a party to be at the same stage as a party that's been around for 9 months after launching for just after a week. Doesn't make any sense. Richard and Paul began smearing Rupert 5 minutes after his announcement. Habib should have shut them down. A merger was never going to happen after that behaviour. It's over now for Habib after his video. Yeah. If it had just been supporters or members of Advance UK doing that, he could have gotten around it, but it wasn't. You know, these are people that were calling Rupert Lowe ethno-nationalist. These were people who have shared a live stream with Ben Habib regularly. And then Ben Habib doesn't come out and disavow the comments. He knows Rupert Lowe isn't an ethno-nationalist. So why would he allow college members to smear him in that way? Why? No offence, but I always thought it sounded like an insurance company. Advanced UK. Hi Tina, how you doing? The same way Rupert should have shut down all the unsavoury Restore members. Rupert didn't do it. Why? Because they're entitled to free speech. Because they're members. They're entitled to their free speech. We're not talking about members. We're talking about prominent people within the party. That's a false equivalence. Members are not equivalent to people within the party that are responsible for decision making, are they? Probably. I've probably got one coming. I've installed from Paul, 14, and Rudy, and very disappointed in them all. well, then Paul and Richard also entitled to opinions. Why should Ben shut them down? Because they're actually within the party. Not so much Richard Inman. He's not within the party, but definitely Paul Thorpe should have took Richard Inman to one side and said, mate. In fact, he even said in the live stream, I've got to be very careful what I say because I'm prominent within the party. And then went on to passively aggressively try and do the guilt by association thing with ethno-nationalism in the live stream. So it's a false equivalence, isn't it? I'm saying members have free speech because they don't really have any say in decision making at the top. They're not leadership, are they? They're not in the college. Complete false equivalence. Then don't get me wrong, but I'd rather have Restore Britain or Advance over Reform. Yeah, no problem with that, saying that whatsoever. Then did the Union delete the English Constitution? No, the English Constitution is still in effect. It's just been heavily overridden by Acts of Parliament. Well, you think we're on the same side, but not according to some people. This is what I was talking about in a video the other day. This is what happens with party politics. And let's not forget, right, let's talk about how Ben Habib stated that Rupert Lowe was going to be a dictator. But then the other day, Rupert Lowe was saying that branches will be allowed to self-governed. They will do what they need to do in their own constituencies. How was that being a dictator? That was only the other day. So either Ben Habib isn't watching or he's being very disingenuous in what he's saying. Isn't he? I didn't see it. No, I didn't see it. I didn't see the actually, I think there's clips of it. I think I got a clip of it. In fact, it's on my channel. I think I did a video on it. Let's get it up. Let's get it up, and I'll show you what was actually said. You can actually do that. All right. Let's stop sharing this. We'll have a look. See if I can find it. All right. We'll stop that. Switch the lamp on because it's getting dark now. There we go. It's better. See what I'm doing now. But we'll get the point at where they're on the live stream. You'll have to pardon. I've got my. Am I having a say? No, I'm not. Actually, I think it's. I'll go and find it. I think it's in my short section. Sure it is. Where are you? Is it in short? Where are you? Oh, here we go. Got it. Right. We'll share it. We'll play this. This was a live stream. So this is a college member. See if that's playing on there. So it's coming through. All right. Yeah, it's coming through. So this is Richard Inman and Paul Thorpe. And this is what they said. And you ask yourself a question after watching this. Do you think that Rupert Lowe, maybe paying attention to this, is going to want to actually merge with a party that thinks this way about him? When it plays, that is. When it play? Why won't you play? Opinion on this little outburst by Richard Inman. I've got my theories. I've kept my powder dry on Paul Thorpe and Richard Inman for very good reasons. I'm not in this to cause division. I'm not in this to start infighting and that sort of thing. To me, it's very much a situation that will keep until we get our country back. But I would like to get your guys' opinion on this little outburst. Let's listen to it.
I mean, I've got to be a little bit more careful what I say because, you know, I do have a certain responsibility.
To what?
You know,
To
to
what?
Ben, to the party, you know.
Yeah.
being,
You know what? I can guarantee you. See everything I've just said there? I don't think Ben would have a problem with any of it. There was other people, right? Other very prominent people that I've already named in this podcast, right? That were meant to stand with him, and they stabbed him in the back because they're flipping rats. They're rats.
Stephen
I'll
says,
tell you what. I'll never share a platform with those men again. I'll never stand near them again, and I mean that. I've never been as angry with someone on the right of politics as I am with Rupert Lowe and his little cronies. And we could name them all. And I'm going to name them all. Carl Benjamin, Connor Tomlinson, right? Wrong'uns, you're flipping wrong'uns. That's all there is to it. And I'm not going to be, no, I don't like Rupert, and I don't like Connor Tomlinson. I don't like what these people are doing. I don't care anymore because I'm so angry about it. So angry. You know, we just had that amazing conference, right? We saw exactly what Advanced UK is about. And Rupert had his spies there. He had Brimley Wormtongue there. I met Connor Tomlinson at that Advanced thing. He was sent by Rupert to spy, him and some other guy. Sent to spy. We're going to end up with progressive, Labour, lefty Islamic coalitions until our country is totally broken and totally destroyed. And Rupert, mate, if you ever see this, Connor Tomlinson, Carl Benjamin, this is on you guys. Hope you're strutting around with your little chests out and your nice little fancy suits and your horn rimmed glasses. Wrong'uns, the whole lot of them, Paul. I'm sorry. I'm absolutely livid.
So that was his first. My subscribers' opinion. So that was his outburst. I'm not sure where the other one is. I think that's been long deleted. But there's a bit where they go on about passive aggressively calling Restore Britain and Rupert Lowe ethno-nationalist. I think a lot of my subscribers have seen it. So I think I'll be preaching to the choir with that one. But I think that people have actually seen that. But yeah, do you really think, after seeing that on a live stream with a prominent member within Advance UK, that you would want to merge with that party? I'm just asking an honest question. Would you want a merger with a party that said that about you? Does anybody have any links to that? If you've got any links to it, post them. Post them, and I'll have a look at it. So I don't know where it is. Does anybody know where that video is? Because I will play it on here. Link the video, and I'll play it on here. Then I don't know if you know, Restore Britain supporters have a question on YouTube asking, do we think Carnes will lose the MBE? Well, okay. It won't link. Tell you what, go and post it in my video comments of my new video. Leave a comment there of a new video, and I'll play it. You can link it. You can link it in the chat. All right. Okay. Where is he? Where has he gone? Where's he gone? Try and look for him. I'm trying to look for him so I can. Steve, you there, mate? Can you find that video and link it if you can? It's one apparently Paul Thorpe bad mouthing Rupert Lowe. It's important we play it because we need to get the full story. So I'm just looking to see where it actually is. I'm looking where the comment is. Right, okay. Yeah, I don't have to make him a mod on here. I don't have to make him a mod live in the chat, so I can't do that. So if anybody's actually got the link, go and post it in my latest video, and I'll play it. This is YouTube not allowing links in the chat again. It's annoying. If you post it in the comment, I'll go and look at the newest comments, and I should be able to get the link straight away. But yeah, it'd be interesting to watch that video. I was watching it live. I had to click off, making me sick. You can post. What does that say? You can post a link as a reply to a comment, not directly a comment, not directly as a comment. It's stupid. Yeah, it is. Ben was spot on. Well, if you think he's spot on, feel free to come into the live stream and tell me why he was spot on. Yep, links in the chat. You come in and defend Ben Habib's position. Stop sharing that now. It might be this one, but it's huge to go through from 6 days ago. Yeah, I need timestamps to know where to actually do it from. So I don't know. Maybe I'll have to do another live stream at some point and show that video. But somebody might actually post it in the comments. If they post it in the comments on the video, we'll have a look. Let's have a look. Full talk video. Right, why is it on massive amounts of speed here? Right, okay. Right, before I let you in, I'm going to play this video because I think people need to see this. All right, just before you come in. Right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring you in, but I'm going to put you on mute for a bit until I play this video, mate. Is that all right?
Yeah, yeah.
Right, you're in, mate. I'm just going to play this video. Right. Present. Share screen. Can you actually slow it down? Right, let's see if we can actually play this. I wish we could slow it down, but obviously you can't. I don't have to do it on here. Can you do it on here? Auto play. No, full screen. Settings, right. Let me turn it down. Normal, yeah. Normal. See if we can slow it down a bit.
Are we wasting our time? That's probably the biggest and the most commonly asked question that people, when I meet people in the street, that's the question that people ask more often than not. Are we done? Now, this morning I'm not here to preach, I'm not here to advise. I'm here to ask you questions as much as give you my thoughts and my honest views as to exactly where all right now, and it's not in a good place. The announcement made by Rupert Lowe just over a week ago that Restore UK was going to cease to be a movement and become a fully fledged political party in its own right, to me, if I'm honest, was bad news. And I'm going to explain why. And I hope you listen very carefully before you go tapping away in the comments, slagging me off, calling me a traitor. Please listen to what I've got to say. Like I said, I'm not preaching. I'm offering what I think is sound commentary based on facts, based on historical facts, and more importantly, based on reality. And I think reality is something that a lot of people are missing right now. Reality. Reality is a very powerful word because it means realism. It's about being real. Reality means what can really happen, what is fantasy and what is reality. So as I said, I'm not here to preach. I'm here to offer my opinion, think out loud. We can discuss like adults. And maybe you guys can help me. Maybe I've got it wrong. But this is where I sit. Rupert Lowe's Restore Britain party was launched. And following that launch was a mass euphoria. It was like a shot of morphine, if you like, into the arm of the nation. And we've seen that with Restore's membership figures going from, pretty much, I don't know how many days, 20, 30,000 up to 70, 80,000. No doubt by the end of this week, the middle of next week, it's going to be 100,000 plus, possibly, maybe. And those numbers have been built on euphoria, hope, dreams. People thinking, at last, we have a Churchillian leader that can win back our country. Now, this is going to be a long video because I'm going to go through a number of things here. And I really, really hope that, most importantly, the people that doubt what I'm going to say or that disagree with me will listen till the end and hopefully consider very carefully what I'm saying and give it some thought. Now, one of the most popular things that Rupert said during his video, a video viewed multiple millions of times, which shows you the need for the message and the popularity of the message. But I spoke a minute ago about realism, so let's talk about realism for a moment. Rupert said we will deport millions and it will be painful. Well, he's right about one thing. It would be painful. Painful beyond belief, painful beyond anything that this country has ever experienced, and I include the Second World War in that. Bear with me. I would like to know, because I've often said on this channel that talk is cheap. It's very easy to say the right thing, but backing it up and making those things happen is something entirely different. So, again, forget the facts whether I agree or disagree with Rupert's points. I mean, would I like to deport millions from our country? Yes. If I'm honest, I would. Absolutely. I think there are millions of people back home in the UK that probably don't belong there. And in many cases, in many instances, certainly and definitely don't belong there. But the point is, whether I agree with Rupert or not doesn't matter. And whether you agree with him or not doesn't matter. That's not the question. The question is this. What does deporting multiple millions of people from the UK, what does that look like? And how would it work? And he also spoke about deporting people from the NHS that don't speak fluent English. A lot of people at first sight might go, yeah, that's a good idea. I want my doctor to speak fluent English. And by the way, so do I. The reality is, if you remove all of those people from the NHS, the ones that don't speak perfect English, and that will depend on your definition of perfect English, wouldn't it? There'd have to be some kind of test. Imagine trying to work that one out. What does that look like? How would that leave the NHS, for an example? I know that the nurses that currently a beloved member of my own family don't speak perfect English, but they do a job that, trust me when I tell you, none of us would want to do. How are we going to replace those people quickly? Like I said, talk check now, deporting millions of people. And I use the NHS as an example. It's an example that's often used, right? But just remember, the last time you...
Just want to say, right, so at the same time you're deporting people, you start training people up because there were literally thousands of nurses that can't get jobs within the NHS because of diversity, equity and inclusion policy. You get rid of diversity, equity and inclusion policy, that would automatically free up thousands of nurses that can't get jobs. They have to go abroad. They have to go to America. They get their nursing degree and then they're back of the queue because of the policy within the NHS. So that would answer that question, wouldn't it, Paul?
Or your mum, your dad, or another loved one was in the hospital, did everyone that looked after them and took care of them, did they speak perfect English? Consider that for a moment. If you was in a road traffic accident this afternoon, God forbid, or if one of your children was involved in a road traffic accident, what would you rather have? Would you rather have someone looking after them and saving their lives that didn't perhaps quite speak the Queen's English perfectly, and that would include me, by the way, and save their lives, or would you rather they died because no one was available that spoke perfect English? It's a serious question, one to consider. But the harsh reality of deporting millions of people, what does that look like? How would it work? And what would it lead to? That's the most important question. I'm going to go through the pros and the cons. So like I said, it's going to be a long video. I hope you bear with me. Deporting millions of people. Well, I can only guess where that might start. And I would certainly, absolutely, 100% agree with Rupert's proposed start. All illegals need to go. Anyone that is here abusing our system needs to go. Enemies of the state, proven enemies of the state, people that are here or at home in the UK looking to destroy our culture, our way of life. We all know what an enemy of the state looks like. Gone. They all need to go. And that could be done relatively pain-free. It wouldn't be easy. It wouldn't be pain-free, but it is possible and it could be done. The reality, I go back to the reality. The reality of that is that it is achievable. We can stop the boats easily. We can deport those that are here illegally fairly easily. We can round up many of those that are here illegally reasonably easily. And we can certainly very easily deport all foreign-born nationals that are in our prisons, that have broken our laws, that have no future in our country other than being a drain on society. All of those deportations are relatively simple, relatively easy, and definitely achievable. The problem starts when you start talking about deporting millions of people is where the lines are, who draws those lines, and how will the public receive those lines, and how will the public get behind and support those lines. Now, despite the sweeping sentiment across the nation that we are sick.
I think that question has already been asked by the fact that Restore Britain has, shot up to nearly 80,000 to nearly 100,000 in a week. So I think we can guarantee that Rupert's actually got the majority of the country behind him in that regard, regarding getting rid of these people out of our country that shouldn't be here, that haven't integrated, that can't speak English. I mean, how many of you people have been on the phone to somebody in this country and you can't understand a word they're saying? How many of you had that? I've had it. I've been in security. I've had people that I've worked on security that can't speak a word of English. Now that puts me at risk, because how am I supposed to communicate with that person that I'm in danger if he doesn't understand what I'm saying? All these people need to go. If you want to come to this country, then it should be for necessity. It should be necessity. These people should come to this country for vital services that we needed, not for low-paid jobs. We don't need those people. We've got our own people for that. It's just, wow. That's all I can say is wow. I think he's left it. He'll come back in a bit. I'm just getting through this. I want to play this video in its entirety.
Of our country being taken over. We're sick and tired of it not representing the wonderful country that we grew up in and recognise. We're sick and tired of us losing that way of life. The reality, and I go back to the word reality again, the reality of it is that deporting millions of people from our country just because their skin isn't white enough is completely and utterly unachievable and unrealistic.
Here we go with the false equivalence. Here comes the false equivalence. Here comes the smearing. That's not what Rupert Lowe has said at all, or anybody within Restore Britain.
I'll explain why. Firstly, how many people in the United Kingdom would get behind a political party? And again, I'm not preaching, I'm asking you the questions. These are questions for you to answer if you don't agree with me. Where do you think the ceiling is for a hard right political party that would deport? Let's give you an example. Say Nigel Benn. Nigel Benn was born in this country. He served the British Army. He's very patriotic. I knew Nigel quite well back in the day. Loves England, loves his country, very proud of it, very proud of his service to the armed forces. Married at the time to a white girl. They gave birth to a son, Connor, who is mixed race. Connor Benn, also married, also has children, third generation. Are you going to send Connor Benn's children and Connor Benn and Nigel Benn back to the countries where their grandfather, father and great-grandfather came from?
He's just using false equivalence, isn't he? Rupert Lowe hasn't said that. Rupert Lowe has already said that if you're integrated into our society, you respect our values, you respect our traditions, then you're okay. He's already stated this. Literally nobody said that. Nobody has said that. That's probably why he supported the Reform Party for a long time, because he still holds their values. It's not about skin colour though, is it? Rupert Lowe has not mentioned anything about skin colour. All he has said is the people that will not integrate, the people that are a drain on our society that shouldn't be here, will have to leave. That's what he said. He said that if you integrate, if you follow our traditions, work hard, then you're okay. This is amazing. No one really.
Is that what you're going to do? And how would you do that? You would need an army of 250,000 men strong to make that happen. And by the way, in doing that, not only would you turn mixed race people against you, not only would you turn anyone of colour against you, not only would you turn everyone of every other religion against you, you would turn.
But he's not said that. What he said is he would ban the burqa, he would ban halal meat, he would ban Sharia courts and kosher slaughter, which would pretty much make anybody that doesn't want to follow our values or follow our way of life deport themselves.
Just about every country in the world against you. In other words, it's a battle that you could not win. There's no realism in that now. Back in the 1970s, 60s, 70s, it may have been possible. May have been. Today, it's impossible.
He's
whether you like it or not, the realistic side of this is it is impossible. And the ceiling for those that would support such a move, and the ceiling that is there for the ethno-nationalists, the people that are suddenly very, very noisy, making a lot of noise, believing in their minds that Britain can one day be 95%, 99% all white again, are living in Canal Cuckoo land. Those days have gone, and it's not going to happen. And I know that some of them will be spitting feathers listening to me say that, but prove me wrong. Don't just tap away in the comments and abuse me. Tell me how, realistically, you would achieve that without the bloodiest civil war the world has ever seen. Tell me how you're going to achieve that. And the proof of the pudding, and I'm going to give it to you right now, and this is the cold hard truth of the matter. I remember the National Front back in the 1970s. At their height, I believe, from my research this morning before making this video, the National Front, at its peak, had about 20 to 25,000 members across the whole of the United Kingdom. Less than your average Premiership home game, your average Premiership football attendance, 20 to 25,000 members. The British National Party were at their peak, 2009, 2010. From my research this morning, which actually I'm wondering if it's true, because it did seem quite low, but it says 12,000 members. Well, let's say it was double that. Let's say it was 24,000 members. Again, your average attendance of a Championship football match. Not very many people, is it? 20 to 25,000. If we step forward to 2026, Rupert Lowe's party, and I'm not suggesting that Rupert Lowe's party is a modern day version of the BNP or the National Front. Of course not. I don't believe that Rupert is like that at all. But
So why are you even bringing it up, and why have you just said but?
Some of the people that are following him, some of the people that are potentially in his ear, some of those people that are convincing him that he is the Messiah, I believe, most likely belong in that ethno-nationalist category. And I think...
Wow. Wow. Talk about smear tactics. They have it, smear tactics. There's literally nobody within the Restore Britain that's like that. Nobody at all. That's just a downright lie. Open lie. I haven't seen anybody like that. And notice how he mixes it in. Oh, he may have some supporters. He may have somebody speaking in his ear. The passive-aggressive approach again. Rupert Lowe is not responsible for the people that support the party any more than you're responsible for the people that support Advance UK. You're not. You might have some ethno-nationalists that follow your party. It's just a given in this climate, in this country at the minute, that that's going to happen. They try to latch themselves on to every movement, and there's nothing you can do about it. You can disavow them, and he has done that because Rupert Lowe has come out and stated what he would actually do. You've seen it in this live stream. I played the video of him actually saying that it's nonsense.
Rupert is very naive to let these young men in his ear and to influence him and convince him that he can do in 2026 what the National Front and the BNP failed to do in the past. I've often say, if you want to know about the future, look at what's happened in history. The bottom line is, whether you like it or not, it's never going to happen.
What, are you saying they're ethno-nationalists? You're saying that Charlie Downs is an ethno-nationalist? Really? Wow. You come in just like what the reformers are. Tribalistic and dogmatic.
And it will only lead to a civil war like you would not believe. And this is where, I hate to say it, but credit to Nigel Farage. Nigel Farage is intelligent enough to know this. And when he said during his interview that...
The thing is, though, Paul, Ben wants the same thing, apparently. He wants to deport millions of people as well. Mass deport millions of people. So, your own party wants the same thing. So what are you even talking about?
If we alienate the whole of Islam, we will lose. A lot of people, myself included at the time when I first listened to it, thought, you bloody coward. You traitor, how dare you say that? But it's been in my mind since, considering what Farage said and the way he said it, that he might actually have been issuing a warning. It might have been quite a prophetic message, because there's not enough indigenous white British people that would support that cause. You're talking about a very small percentage of the country that would get behind those beliefs, get out on the streets and make it happen. Again, I talk about realities. This is the reality. Maybe, just maybe, Nigel Farage was issuing a warning. Maybe he was saying, look, you've got to be a bit more sensible about this, chaps, right? You've got to be a bit more realistic. And this is why I'm so pissed off that Rupert didn't have it in him to get behind Ben Habib and Advance UK. And I was watching Alex Phillips yesterday, and she had a couple of guests on. I didn't catch who they were. But they were talking about the ethno-nationalists that are gravitating towards Rupert Lowe and his Restore Britain party. They were talking about that and the dangers of it and the harsh realities and how the media will be able to use that against Rupert and would lead to their ultimate demise. You can imagine, can't you, that if a party got into power that wanted to deport millions of people that weren't quite as white as they like, you can imagine how the left would use that, wouldn't you? You'd have everyone that even had a tan against you. It's crazy. Now, the guy on Alex Phillips' show yesterday said that he felt that Advance UK had hit the sweet spot, that they had it just about right, and I agree. We too want to deport. Oh, when I say millions, it's difficult to pick out a precise figure, but you would certainly start off with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people that we all know. You don't have to be a rocket scientist. You don't have to be an ethno-nationalist. You don't have to be...
Right, so he's saying the same bloody thing. He's just admitting now, oh, we're going to do the same thing. But nobody's calling you an ethno-nationalist, are they, Paul? Nobody's smearing you as an ethno-nationalist because you want to do the same thing that Rupert Lowe said he wants to do. Unbelievable.
Be a liberal lefty. You don't have to be anyone to know the difference between right and wrong. And there are hundreds of thousands of people in the United Kingdom right now that do need deporting. Let's start there. Isn't that a good place to start? Isn't that a more sensible place to start? Isn't that a more realistic route to go down? But I fear that for some of the people around Rupert Lowe, and I don't know all of them, I know a few, I'm not speaking about them in particular or any...
I'm going to come to this comment. Look, instead of just making passive comments, state your facts. In any case, the other side of Restore are going to become more visible as time goes on, unless it's dealt with by Rupert. By what? What? You don't state anything. It's just more smear tactics, isn't it? You just insinuate something without actually backing it up with some kind of facts. This is what people have been doing. It's a smear campaign.
For any one person or individual in particular, but I fear that Rupert Lowe does have people in his ear that have convinced him that he is the new Messiah and that the nation will back the deportation of millions of people, many of whom would be deported basically and ultimately just because of the colour of their skin. That's not going to win. That's not going to work. It's a dream. It's a dream for those people. It's not a dream for the vast majority of people in our country who are, like it or not, a very decent, kind, caring, Christian, tolerant people. They're not going to fall for that. They're not going to swallow it. They're not going to vote for it. And this euphoria, this crest of a wave that Rupert is currently riding, is not going to last. The media will allow it to get to a certain level, and then the attacks will start. And once the attacks start, Rupert's Restore Britain could take a nosedive just as quickly as it has risen. And trust me, I do understand, respect and appreciate the feelings of many of these people that are looking for now a more extreme party. I do understand why they're doing it. It's born out of frustration, out of anger, out of a sense of betrayal. We all feel betrayed. But Ben Habib's party, Advance UK, let me tell you, it's not a shrinking, violent political party. Boy, oh boy, look at the policies. Look at the migration, immigration, culture. Look at the policies. If that's not strong enough for you, then wow, just wow. And look, we are faced with this stark reality. When we talk about Rupert Lowe and Restore Britain, and I'm not talking about Rupert as an individual now, I'm talking more about the people that are following, some of the people that are following him, the people who he's attracting. Let's face facts. If we had the scenario at the next general election where Rupert won the next general election, the only thing that you could be certain of is that would lead to civil war, blood on the streets, hand-to-hand fighting, death, destruction, and complete chaos. Division like you have never even considered, if the ethno-nationalists got a hold of what Rupert is doing. The other option, the other consideration is that the nation rejects Rupert Lowe's Restore Britain party, rejects Ben Habib and Advance, rejects Reform, rejects anyone from the centre over to the harder to the right. Let's say that Labour was to win, or an unholy alliance of Labour, the Greens, the Independent Islamists, even a few Lib Dems thrown in. There's nothing much Lib Dem about the Lib Dems these days, is there? Let's say we had the unholy alliance of that little lot back in Parliament. Where does that leave? Where does that lead? Civil war?
So now he's talking about splitting the vote. This is passively aggressively talking about splitting the vote now. He can't come out and directly say it because these are all talking points that Reform use against Restore Britain, that they're going to split the vote. Unbelievable.
Hand fighting in the streets, death and destruction. I don't think we want either. We don't want ethno-nationalism getting in the way of winning back our country.
Why do you keep going on about ethno-nationalism? Rupert Lowe is not an ethno-nationalist. Nobody in the leadership of Restore Britain is an ethno-nationalist. Those people couldn't fill a small car park. They literally couldn't. And you're talking like they're some kind of massive power within the country. They're not. You're sounding like a lefty. This is how the lefties would sound. Oh, the rise of the far right. They couldn't fill a car park. They have to latch on to other movements to make themselves look big. They tried to do it at the Britain First March on Saturday, where they were promptly kicked out. They tried to do it down at the Southampton protest that I went to. They were promptly kicked out. The same thing will happen to any political party. They will be kicked out. They won't even get anywhere near power within these parties because nobody wants anything to do with them. This is just a smear campaign, a passively, aggressively smear campaign because you're part of one party and you don't like the rise of another. That's what it looks like.
Ethno-nationalism is not going to lead to victory, it will lead to defeat. And like I said, whether you agree with me or not, whether you like it or not, is really irrelevant. I asked you to think of the realities, look at the realities. And for example, when we talk about deporting millions of people because they're not white, tell me.
Right, I'm going to address this comment because I agree with this, right? Totally agree with this. And this is the issue because Advance UK is another centre-right party. And the thing with Restore Britain is it's a right-wing party. It's a proper right-wing party with right-wing policies. This is why Paul Thorpe is a centrist. He's a centrist. And that's why he has an issue with a right-wing party. It's the issue he had an issue with UKIP because it's a right-wing party. They have a tough stance. They're not going in there to negotiate with these people. They're going in there to dictate terms. They're going to go in there like a wrecking ball, hopefully. That's what we need right now. I've said this before in videos and it just falls on deaf ears. You cannot fight the hard left, which have an extremist, communist Starmer regime in government right now, with a centrist right-wing party. You can't do that. You need a right-wing party that is not going to go in there and negotiate. It's just going to dictate terms. It's going to say, this is how we're doing things. If you don't like it, it's tough. And that's exactly what Rupert Lowe is saying right now. That's what he's saying. And that's why he's got my attention. That's why he's got my ear. Because it's not some wishy-washy centre-right party that we keep getting, which has gotten us into this situation in the first place. Because all centre-right parties do is appease and take the knee. They lose ground all the time. Whereas a right-wing party, which is what we need, which is what Restore Britain is about taking that ground back. That's what I want to hear. Not some wishy-washy centre-right bollocks that we've heard from Reform and now we're hearing from Advance in the form of Paul Thorpe.
In the comments, make a video about it. Tell me how I'm wrong. Tell me how you would do that. Tell me what it looks like. Tell me how many lives you think would be lost. Tell me how many businesses would shut down. Tell me how many hospitals would close. Tell me how many of our armed forces would be fighting with each other. How many of our police forces would be battling against each other. Because there'd be, on one hand, you'd have people of colour and people that are happy to have friends that are not quite white. You'd have all those battling with those on the ethno-nationalist side, within the organisations, within the NHS, within the armed services.
Well, sorry to bring up the obvious, Paul, but you're not even in Britain. So it's not even going to affect you, mate, is it? You're nice and safe in Spain.
Chaos. It's an inconceivable chaos. Now, people talk about splitting the vote. And to be honest, I've always said, well, there's no vote to split right now, and there isn't because there's no general election. But if there was a general election, there will be in 3 years' time, at the next general election, if we genuinely split the vote between the real hardliners on the hard right against parties like Advance.
And now he's talking about splitting the vote. How can he split the vote when the... Oh, my God. You know what? He should be part of Reform. He should be in Reform. He should be part of Reform, shouldn't he? Wow.
And even Reform, I hate to bring them into it, but you know what? I'd rather a Reform government that kept peace in the country, that stopped bloodshed. Than
now he's saying he's a part of Advance UK, but now he's saying, oh, I'd rather have a Reform party than have bloodshed. My God.
A hardline government that had been infiltrated by evil people.
A hard right government. That's what he fears the most because he's a centrist. We need a hard right government to fix all the problems. That's what we need, Paul. We don't need wishy-washy people like you that fuck off to another country. We don't need people like you. We need hard right-wingers to take this country back because the people that are in office aren't going to compromise. They won't compromise with people like you. You will offer them everything and they will take everything and give nothing in return. That's what we've always had. My God. I can't even believe I'm hearing this. I can't. He does. He sounds exactly like Nigel Farage. How are you doing? Yeah, we're English. We're English. Can somebody please speak up for the English, please? It's people like Paul that got us into this situation in the first place. Yeah. Appeasement, appeasement, appeasement. The thing about retreating is, if you keep retreating, eventually you give yourself nowhere to retreat to. At some point, you have to draw a line in the sand and fight back. And you can't do that with a centrist party. Reform approved that, and now Advance UK approving that in the form of Paul Thorpe. That has influence over their policy. Let's not forget that. So when he says that, I'll be honest with you, I think Restore Britain is as different from Advance UK as it is as different from the Reform Party. People accuse Restore Britain of splitting the vote from Reform UK. Well, Reform UK is the polar opposite to what Restore Britain is. They're not even remotely the same. They're not even offering the same things. Restore Britain's worldview is totally different to the worldview of Reform. And it's totally different from this to the worldview of Advanced UK. And maybe that's why Rupert decided that a merger wasn't good, because they didn't share the same values. That he saw what people like Paul thought were saying, thought, I don't want those people. He stated, Rupert Lowe stated, I only want people within the party that share my vision for the country. He only wants people on board that share his vision for the country, getting the country back, getting our culture back, getting our traditions back, making our streets safe again. He only wants people that share that vision. And Paul Thorpe clearly doesn't share that vision, does he? Not one little bit. And what's that got to do with this conversation? Just because Stephen Laws supports Rupert Lowe doesn't mean Rupert Lowe supports Stephen Laws. That's guilt by association. Right, let's carry on. Wow.
That would essentially lead to a civil war and the death of thousands of innocent Britons. I'd prefer to have a reform government than that. I honestly mean that. And if you want to hate me for that, that's fine. I'm a human being. I love all people.
So whilst being a member of a party, you're stating that you'd rather have another party in government. Talk about not having convictions. Talk about not having any belief in your own party. That's amazing that somebody prominent with another party would say, I'd rather have another party in government. Wow.
All I want for our country is for it to be peaceful, normal, a great place to bring our children up, predominantly a Christian country where we allow...
You're not going to get that, Paul. You're not going to get that with appeasement. You're only going to get that from being tough on what needs to be done. Rupert Lowe has set out a plan of what needs to be done. Mass re-immigration of people that haven't integrated into society. We have great swaths of our country that we no longer recognise, that have basically become colonies of other nations that have their own sets of laws in Sharia law. The police have to ask permission to go into communities to do investigations. We have a Muslim Council of Britain that shouldn't even exist. We've been colonised, and people like you are not the solution, and parties like Advanced are not the solution. I'm sorry, they're not. If these are your beliefs, then you are not the solution. And I'm glad I'm playing this video because I'm hoping people are going to see through what Advanced is, because with this guy influencing it, I have no faith in Advanced UK. And it's starting to come true now as to why Rupert wouldn't want a merger with a party like this, because it simply doesn't share its values.
Other face. And no doubt there are people out there now saying, oh, Thorpe, you're a traitor, you're not really a patriot, you live in Spain, blah, blah, blah. You can say whatever you like, crack on. If you think that hard right, ultra right, ethno-nationalism is going to win back our country, then I think you're wrong. That's my view. I'm entitled to it just as you are entitled to yours. And I'm disappointed with Rupert. I'm disappointed that he didn't come together with Ben, a man of real integrity, a man that loves his country like you wouldn't believe, a genuine patriot, because of his background, a man that would be hard for the mainstream media to try and destroy. A man that has it all, in all honesty. It's just a shame that Rupert has probably allowed his ego to be inflated by young men who are whispering all the right things in his ear. And you know what? As an older guy myself, I'm a bit younger than Rupert, but I'm not far off, a couple of 3 years maybe. Look, when you get older, it is nice when younger men get in your ear and tell you how great you are. It flatters you. It appeals to your ego. But at the same time, the maturity, the years of experience that you've had should also serve you well enough to make you stand back and think about that word again, reality. So this could be all right.
I think that's what you need to do, Paul. You need to take a step back and look at reality and what position you're actually in. Because you're not in a position to negotiate with Restore Britain. And I doubt they'd listen now anyway. And I'm probably guessing Rupert Lowe may or may not have seen this video, which would add weight to why he doesn't want to have a merger with Advanced UK, which might, this and the actual live stream that you did may be a reason why Advanced, and maybe that's why you did it. Maybe you didn't want a merger. I don't know. I don't know your motives. I I don't claim to know your own mind, but
all over for us. It really could be all over for us. The dream that some people have of the UK looking like it looked in the 1950s, 99% white. That dream is gone, it's over, and it ain't happening. Not without a civil war that we would lose. And when I say we would lose, that's not a coward comment. It's a comment of reality.
well, we would lose because you're not there. You're not here, Paul. We would lose. You mean we would lose? Which I doubt. We wouldn't lose. But I can't go into that. But we wouldn't lose. But you know that's all well and good coming from somebody in another country, whilst in a college that's dictating policy over laws of policy of a political party that's in this country, within which you have no vested interest anymore. You made your decision, and fair enough, that's your decision. You know, if you did it for the right reasons to get your family out because you were scared about what was going on in Britain and that sort of thing. I can't fault you for that. Fair enough. Well done, you got your family out. But then to start dictating how people should behave in this country after you've left is a bit much, really.
How many, I ask you again, how much of the British nation would take to the streets and go to war with people who are not the same colour as they are? How many? 5,000? 2,000?
Why are you bringing race into it? Nobody has brought race into this whatsoever. You're talking about civil war, which may or may not even happen. That could even happen anyway with the current Labour government. Anytime. Nobody knows what's going to happen this summer with the way the Labour Party are going.
20,000? The reality, the word I keep coming back to, is this. The reality is that we can win our country back. We can make it a Christian country that maintains our culture, is proud of our history, our heritage, a country that flies the Union flag in all the classrooms from all the buildings in our country, that puts our statues up with pride, that honours our forefathers, that honours our history and what we've given to the world. We can have that country. We can have that country back. We can say...
Yeah, you can't do that without deporting all the people that don't want that. He completely doesn't understand that we have vast groups of people in this country that don't want that. They want to implement Sharia law in this country. We've got imams all over the country in extremist mosques saying that they're going to take this country and they intend to do it. And you know what? The followers will follow them. We're already looking at, in the next general election, a block vote of Muslim voters getting behind the Green Party.
Safely deport hundreds of thousands of foreign-born criminals and illegals and people that just don't belong in our country. We can deport those people. That is a reality. It can be done. It can be done under an advanced UK government. It could have been done under a reformed UK government if they hadn't have lost their bowl completely and have gone down a completely middle-of-the-road, conservative, almost Lib Dem route. Nigel Farage, I repeat, had it all and he blew it. Advanced UK.
Yeah, well, that's what you sound like, Paul. You sound like a middle-of-the-road Liberal Democrat. All this rhetoric you're saying is something that you'd probably hear from Ed Davey at this point.
Hit the sweet spot. And I believe that Rupert has done us a disservice in the respect of Ben Habib, let's face it. Let's be truthful, because I'm always truthful with myself. I look at realities. Let's be realistic. Ben's going to struggle on his own. He's not as well known as Rupert. He's not as well respected as Rupert nationally. Not as many people know who Ben is. They don't understand him. They've not seen him before. Rupert is miles in front as far as his personality and his exposure is concerned. And instead of bringing that power to Ben and unifying us all and potentially ridding us of Nigel Farage and his party...
Well, I'll raise this again, right? So Rupert has the bigger party. So why should Rupert go to Ben? Why didn't Ben just say, you know what? I'm going to put the vote to my members, stuff the college. I'm going to put my vote to the members, whether or not we should merge or not. That's what should happen. And then what should have happened was they should have had a negotiation, decided whether they want to keep the college or not. Either way, the college should be elected, in my opinion. That should be put to the voters. There should be a short list of people that want to be members of the college. Put that vote to the members. Let them vote on the members of the college. And then you have that college as the democratic elected checks and balances for the party. That's the way it should be done, in my opinion. But it's not, is it? You were selected. You were democratically elected, were you, Paul? You were chosen.
Pretenders. Well, I'm afraid I think Rupert made the wrong decision. He listened to the wrong people. He's acting out the dream, a fantasy that is unrealistic. It will attract big support, including my own support to a large degree, but I refuse to support the ethno nationalists. I refuse to support those that want to deport Conor Ben's children. I refuse to support those who want to deport The nurse from Singapore takes care of one of my family members. I refuse to want to deport those people because I don't think that's for good.
And Rupert Lowe has not said he wants to deport those people. Again, it's a false equivalence. It's a straw man. It's a straw man argument. You're creating an argument that Rupert Lowe hasn't made, and now you're trying to knock it down easily because it's an argument he hasn't made. He hasn't made an argument for deporting everybody that's not ethnically English or British, has he? He's not even said that. If you actually listen to what he said, he tells you who he wants deported. If you actually go to the Restore Britain website, he's got a pretty comprehensive paper on how he would deport the people and what that would entail. But I guess you've not read that, Paul, because you're too busy smearing Restore Britain and Rupert Lowe for whatever reason, for whatever agenda you have.
The nation, and I certainly don't think it's good for peace and cohesion in our nation. Those are my views, and I'll stand by them and I'll stick by them. Advance UK is a very, very hardline, strong, patriotic party with morals, and that is where my loyalty lies. I like Rupert as an individual, but I'm disappointed in him. I'm disappointed that he didn't take up the opportunity of a lifetime, in my opinion, the genuine opportunity to save our country. If Rupert loves his country as much as he says he does, he wouldn't necessarily change his tune.
Why should he? Why should he? Why should he listen to you? And I'll put this to you again, right? Nick Tenconi reached out his hand to Advance UK in unity. Advance UK completely ignored him. And now the shoe is on the other foot because now you're the smaller party and Rupert Lowe is the bigger party hasn't really ignored you. He actually gave you a response. He gave Rupert Lowe several responses. Join Restore Britain. Join Restore Britain. That was his response.
But he might change his tactics and he might change some of the people around him that are whispering in his ear and probably not doing him any favours and certainly not doing the nation as a whole.
I'll tell you something. I think Ben Habib needs to change some of the people that are whispering in his ear. I think that would do him more credit than anything.
Any favours. Realism. Reality, everyone. Do we want peace? Do we want freedom? Do we want our country back? Do we want to get rid of all those people that hate us? Absolutely. Do you want to extend that to anyone with a suntan? Definitely not.
So therefore, you're going to have to deport all the colonies. All the colonies, get rid of them because they hate us. They hate our way of life. They don't want to live the way we live, which is why we have colonies, which is why we have people that want to do religious marches through Whitechapel that can't do it because they're told it's a Muslim area. They can't do that anymore. So what do, Paul? Do you allow them to keep doing that? Or just say, right, it's time for you to go. You're not interested in our way of life. You're not interested in integrating into our culture or respecting our beliefs. And you know what? That's not extreme to say that. Because in reality, that should happen at the immigration process. That's what should happen at the immigration process. If you don't share our beliefs and want to integrate into our way of life, then you've got no business coming to this country. Why would you come to a country in the first place that you have no intentions of integrating into and then coming here and then making demands that your beliefs and your traditions should be met? Why would you even do that? Doesn't make any sense. And it sounds a whole lot to me like you haven't got the backbone or the spine to actually do what needs to be done.
It ain't going to work. And we wouldn't win. Let me know what you think. Am I right? Am I wrong? Am I living in cloud cuckoo land? Or have I got a good grasp of the reality of the situation back home? My loyalty, for what it's worth, and it's not a lot, but my loyalty remains with Ben Habib, a man of integrity, a man that has got it right, a man that has looked at it with a more realistic long-term view, a man that has younger and older people around him, a man with a college that listens to its members. A democratic party, a party for the people, a party that cares. And this is not meant to be a party political broadcast for Advance UK. Far from it. What it is, it's an appeal to everyone on the right side. Not even on. This is not about left and right. This is about right and wrong. It's about people who believe in things that are right, that are realistic, are humane, that will maintain peace and harmony and cohesion in the country. And like I said right from day one, this is not about the colour of people's skin. It's about the colour of their hearts. And if we take our eye off the ball, if we allow Rupert's Restore.
Again, nobody's mentioned colour. Even Rupert Lowe hasn't mentioned colour. He just says we have a problem with Islamic extremists in this country. We have a problem with certain demographics that want to harm our children. That's all he said. And those people need to go from the country. And the people that are protecting them also need to go from this country. And you know what? There is absolutely nothing extreme about that. There's nothing extreme about that whatsoever. That's common sense.
Britain Party to take out our football, we are fucked. Only time will tell. Let me know what you think.
Well, I can fully understand why he deleted that. I can definitely understand why he deleted that video, because that was horrific. Wow. Right, I'm going to post the link again. Anybody wants to come in and have a chat, you can do so. That was insane. Right, does anybody want to come in? I've just posted the link in the chat. Anybody wants to actually come in, they can do so. I think the fines guy has gone. I'm sorry about it. He'll have to come in some other time. I'll make some time for him to have his right to reply. But I wanted to play that video in its entirety so people saw what had been said. But he still agrees with it. I lost count how many times he mentioned skin colour. It just did my head in. Right, okay, I believe the original video is actually 30 minutes long. I think it said 15 minutes because it's the full video because it was on twice normal speed. That's why it was 15 minutes. If it had been normal speed, it would probably been about 30 minutes long. Yeah, drop. Yeah, we don't want anywhere near Restore Britain. And I think that's why Rupert Lowe doesn't want the merger, to be honest with you, after seeing that. Hello, mate. How you doing?
Oh, hey, thanks for having me on today. So, my voice is a bit cracked because I've got a bit of a cold. I'm still getting over it. But I'm 41. My parents, just to give you guys a brief over of who I am, my beliefs, and that sort of thing. I'm a 41-year-old. I live in the south of England. Obviously, I won't give the city away, but I'm LGBT. I think the LGBT community need to drop the T. The sooner the better, because gender has nothing to do with sexuality. That just to point that out first. Secondly, with this whole race thing, right? It is just as racist to say that Britain is too white as it is to say that Africa is too black, period. If Africa is for the Africans, and Russia is for the Russians, and China is for the Chinese, and Saudi Arabia is for the Arabs, then sorry, Britain, Europe, and the other historically, ethnically white countries are white. And to have a country that is historically, ethnically white, to have all of our major cities with the population of white people being very quickly sliding into being the minorities, when you have small conclaves of people saying, this is a Muslim area. Sorry, no, this is England, sir. Full stop. This is England. That's kind of my views. Like, when you're in Rome, you do as the Romans do. It's
Right.
As a British person, it's not okay for me to go abroad. If I choose to move somewhere, I'm choosing to accept that culture. I should be embracing that culture, not telling that culture to change because, oh, you're not including me. It was my choice to move somewhere. I didn't have to do that. And it's the same for every single person that has moved to this country. Sorry, but legal migration, and you can Google, fact check everything I'm saying. These are facts. Google immigration to the UK, right? And I was genuinely astonished when I Googled this myself. We have had more migration between the year 2000 and the year 2025 combined than all of the migration that we had from Henry VIII's days up until the year 2000 combined. So the smallest group of migration is over the longest period, and the largest group of migration is in the shortest period. That is the wrong way round. It is not sustainable. If it's not okay for white people to go and do that to other countries, then it is not okay for those other countries to come and do that to us. If colonialism was so bad, then why are you telling us that the countryside is too white? Isn't that what supposedly we did when we went to your countries?
It's
So
not
what?
just that.
Because
It's not just that.
because we did it, you guys can. No, that's, if you want to turn around and say colonialism was wrong, then you don't get to go and colonize other countries in the name of, oh, you did that, so it's fine for us to. It is
Right.
absolutely
The thing
immoral.
is, right,
We need to
what-
do
what
something
the-
about it. Millions need to go. Millions. Period.
This is my issue, right? And I said it in the video, right? That they're all pissed off because Restore Britain is actually a right-wing party. That's what they're pissed off about.
Yeah.
It's because they're not going to toe the line. They're not going to appease these people. They're just going to say integrate or F off. It's that simple.
Yep.
If you don't
Like
want to
I initially, just to explain my position, you know, I am not against Indian people. I'm not even against Arabs. I'm not against black people. Any of that. I'm gay. I've actually dated more foreigners than I have British people. And that's like anyone, like obviously none of you lot here know me, but that's a genuine fact about me. I have actually dated more. My recent ex-partner was half Maltese. Her father's Maltese, her mother's British. I'm not against migration. What I am against is unsustainable migration and migration that the country simply doesn't need. Where are all these skilled engineers? Where are all these skilled scientists? Where are all... Great, we've got the NHS is absolutely packed full of people, you know, with various qualifications that I myself don't have. They deserve those jobs if they've got the qualifications.
Let's look at Paul Thorpe's argument. Let's look at Paul Thorpe's argument when he said, well, if we deport all these people, we'll have nobody in the NHS. Half of them have got false diplomas anyway and fake university degrees.
Well, then that's something that we need to be addressing as a country, because I'm not okay with being treated on by someone who doesn't potentially have actual legal qualifications to standards that we uphold in this country for our healthcare. You know, like, so this is something actually that came up in veterinary, right? Let me just put this point across. This is something that's actually come up in the veterinary services for animals, right? We've had veterinary surgeons that have come over from Pakistan or come over from wherever, and because their regulations are so completely different to ours, like they were prescribing medicine that they shouldn't have even been prescribing to animals, because they're if you're going to come into this country and provide a service, then you need to study and train at the level of the service that we provide. Your qualifications from your countries meet your regulations, not ours, period. So maybe what we actually need to look at is, you know, get everyone out first. That's the easiest thing to do, right? If your hand is in a fire and it's being burnt, you don't take it out slowly. You take it out quickly. You cut the problem, get rid of the people, right? We are no one in Restore, no one in Advance, just the UK in general. We're not racist people. We just can't have the migration. If you average out the numbers of all the migration between 2000 and 2025, that's roughly 800,000 people per year. That is not sustainable. We're not saying don't come here if you're Indian. We're not saying don't come here if you're African or whatever. If you think that sleeping with a 9-year-old or a 6-year-old is okay, then yes, we don't want you here, clearly. And there are certain countries that I, as an English person, because of their cultural
the thing is, right,
beliefs,
the thing
believe
with
should be
immigration,
banned from even coming to this
with
country.
immigration is
But
we need to take on a policy like America has. They only have
get
people
them out
come to the country
first.
that they need.
Get them out. Get them out, and then right, we look at our situation. What do we need to do now? Oh God, right, we need engineers. Okay, now we're going to bring in from the most skilled, and they will be vetted like we've never vetted before, because we need to change things.
Before we bring people in,
right?
how about we just invest in our own people and train them up first? Because the college
Or
of nursing,
do that, like, but that is very dependent. That is very dependent on whether we have that pool to draw from. That's the only problem
Look at
you
the college of
face in
nursing.
that
Look at the college of nursing,
scenario.
right? 50% of new nurses cannot get a job because of DEI policy.
Yeah, I mean, I did actually, bro. I'm not disagreeing with you. Please don't take anything I say as like a negative. I don't disagree with you. I think we're actually on the same page. My point of view is, if we get everyone out, we can bring them back in. We need to reevaluate the standards that we're bringing people back in on, firstly, because if we are bringing people back in because we don't have British people to apply for said jobs because they just don't want to do it, then that's fine. We can fill that need with actual proper vetting, right? I live in a HMO. One of the residents is from India. She works in the local dentist. Like, I have no problem with that. She's full-time working. She's really civil. She loves, like, she's cooked me food so many times, and like, she is a really decent person. I'm not against migration. I'm against uncontrolled migration, and we drastically need to. I think if you just got rid of everyone in one go, right? Just say let's take that argument to the extreme, right? Let's just follow through the argument and see where we get. Okay. Let's just deport everyone. What problems would arise? Right, we've got lots of job markets that are now empty. So what would happen as a result of that? I'll tell you what would happen overnight. The rates that people get paid for a job would absolutely skyrocket, because now people are a rarity, which means they are a commodity, which means you have to pay more for them. Diamonds are only expensive because they're rare. Period, right? So and also there's another positive effect of just removing everyone, period. Prices with rent, prices for housing would completely drop overnight, literally overnight, because you would have hundreds of empty houses, and the landlords still need to pay the mortgage if they haven't paid it off already. Like, it's basic economics. Someone's just commented supply and demand. Yeah, you're absolutely bang on. It's the basics of supply and demand. Like,
I'll give you an example. I'll give you an example of this.
That isn't going to help.
My industry,
we know what the
security
outcomes are going to be.
Yeah,
like the British are really educated. We don't do things without thinking about it first. We're very, there's a line. We tread that line, and we know what the consequences are. Like, personally, I don't see any drastic problem with just removing everyone first, right? Just get rid of everyone first. Then we can look at what we need to fix in Britain first. Once we've done that, we can then reopen our borders in, say, 20 years, 10 years, whatever the voted timescale. These are things that could be put to votes. Like, we had a vote for, do you want to leave the European Union? Why can't we put these things to vote for the public? Like, once every 6 months, there could be a public referendum on various policies that massively implicate the UK and its security, or its native security, I should say. And I'm not a racist. I promise you, I'm not racist. But this is ethnically, historically, a white country. and it's just as racist to come to England and tell the English, sorry, you're too English, you're not involving us enough, as it is for me as an English person to go to anywhere else in the world. It doesn't matter where I am. It is not acceptable for me to go to any country and say, you should make way for me because I'm here and, I don't quite agree with that. Can you do this instead? That's not okay, guys. There are just things humans shouldn't be doing. Like, if Saudi Arabia want to cover their women and the women want to live like that, that is completely up to them. Democracy is not for everyone, and the West needs to wake up and understand that. Not everyone wants democracy, okay? So for the West to just say, you know, across the world, oh, democracy is the way, that doesn't work for everyone. Like, look at Iraq as an example. Iraq has never had democracy. Never. It's always been run via militia-style governments. It's not. And then the West just turn up and say, oh, here's democracy. They didn't know what to do with it. There was no structure in place for them to go and vote for something. But the British and the West, that's the way we do things. So if you want to come here, then you have to participate in the way that we do things. Just like when we go to your countries, if you're not a democratic country, we wouldn't get a vote in anything because a vote doesn't exist. Right?
I'm start to wrap it up. I'm start to wrap this up now. So it's gone way too long.
Yeah, sorry about the rant, guys. I just think like there are things that the right need to start clarifying, and it's down to us to do that. We are those people.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I'd like you to come back in when me and Tom are on, because Tom would love to talk to you.
Yeah, bro, no problem. Like, I think like the sooner that these conversations are had, and so there's this thing, I know you're going to wrap up soon, but there's this thing that people are probably becoming more aware of. Like, I'm a very well-educated person. I value knowledge. I don't really read much fiction, to be honest with you. I liked Star Trek growing up because I'm a bit of a nerd, and I do game, but I'm more about knowledge and education.
Get on with Tom then, because Tom's a bit of a Star Trek nerd.
Yeah, mate, I love Star Trek. So one famous line, and it's from Star Trek, and it has always stuck with me. And a very pointy-eared Mr. Spock said this: "The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few and the needs of the one."
Could I just get your opinion on something like, what do you think of the new Trek?
Yeah, no, mate. I'm more of a I'm 41 in age, so you know, I'm more of a I follow the original stuff.
The new
like original, Next Gen, Deep Space Nine, Voyager. They were my I've actually been to Paramount Studios when I was 16 when they were filming Voyager. I met Chakotay and Tuvok. Sorry, total nerd out. I met Chakotay and Tuvok and was like a stupid, giggly schoolgirl. It was really stupid. But anyway.
See, I'm a bit more of a Babylon 5 guy. I'm a Babylon 5 guy, mate.
Oh, yeah. I never watched any Babylon. Is that right? Let me get this straight, because there's two. There's Babylon 5 and there's another one. What's the one with the guy that he's got like half a bald head and then he's got this weird hairdo that goes in a fan across his head from his left ear to his right?
That's Babylon 5, yeah.
Is that Babylon 5? Yeah, I never watched that one. Fair enough.
Yeah, it's great. It's to be honest with you, its politics is more or less it's very much a commentary of what's happening right now. Let's just say that.
Yeah. Look, all I can say is I don't know about anyone else or anyone that's listening to this conversation, but personally, Winston Churchill was most famous for saying, "We've already won." Honestly, this is true. You can Google this. Winston Churchill was most famously known for saying, "We've already won," despite the fact the war was not looking that way at all. The second that Rupert decided to take this to where he's now taking this, guys, we've already won. We've now got a path to making Britain again, because Ben, I think he's a very educated guy. I've watched his debates at Oxford. The guy really knows what he's talking about. He's very, I don't want to slander Ben at all, but I think he's a bit too soft for what Britain needs. If Churchill had to pick Ben or pick Rupert, who do you think he'd pick? Because it wouldn't be Ben, it'd be Rupert.
Yeah. I'll
Rupert.
be honest with you though. I think
Rupert's the
Ben
guy that
needs
we need,
to.
unfortunately.
Ben would be a great deputy because Ben could be that person that like steers in the right direction, sort of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like we need the Overton window to shift, and it started moving that way. The Overton window, if you don't know what that means for anyone listening, that's what's considered socially acceptable to talk about. The Overton window has started shifting more towards realizing it's actually also racist to turn up in a white country and then start demanding that they change for you. That's just as racist. DEI needs to go. ECHR needs to go. Human Rights Act needs to go. We need to go back to before 1997, which is I was still at school at that point, but that was when obviously Tony Blair stepped in. We need to go back to before 1997. Just for a little fact for everyone, again, you can fact check what I'm saying on Google. Tony Blair realistically was the last prime minister of the United Kingdom that was able to enact his own policy without external interference, i.e. being the EU. And that's just a fact. So everything since Tony Blair, we can't, deport people because apparently the rights of a paedophile to have a family life because his child doesn't like chicken nuggets from some place, like all the bullshit excuses that we're getting for why people shouldn't be deported. I'm sorry, but if we were in their country and we were raping their children, we would get we'd probably get a death sentence because a lot of these countries, they don't cut your hands off if you steal something. Yeah. So,
if you went to Saudi Arabia and started trying to dictate to them, then you just get deported. You just get deported.
Do you know what's worrying? Yeah, exactly. Do you know what's worrying is that Saudi Arabia themselves are now actually maybe looking at removing the UK from being able to come to Saudi Arabia because they're now actually telling us that we've got more terrorists in the UK and in Europe than they've got in their own Arab lands. Why? Because we haven't imported, the educated Muslims. We've unfortunately imported all the ones that their countries didn't want.
Yeah,
and you can say, that sounds like Donald Trump, and we've just had a load of people released from an insane asylum. But sorry, that's the truth. We have actually just imported all of the people that those countries didn't want, and we've paid for it. Whilst they've raped our women and our children, we have paid for, and I want to make this absolutely clear, we have paid for our own women to be raped and our own children to be raped through allowing this to happen. So it used to be Britain should be partially, mixed, and we should have black people.
Right. Sorry to do that, but I've got to wrap up. I can't get a word in edgeways. Sorry about that. Really appreciate you coming in. Glad you came in and stuff. But I've got to wrap this up. And you're not allowing me to speak. A bit rude. But there you go. But yeah, she's a nice lady, but she needs to know when to allow other people to speak a little bit so they can get their point across as well. Otherwise, it's just a one-sided conversation. Park the thought. Yeah, right, guys. I've let this go on long enough. I was going to go into some other stuff, but yeah. So my only thing is, right, if you're going to come in and you're going to have a chat, just allow the other person to speak as well, because if we have multiple people in, which we could have at some point, then you need to give each individual time to have their say as well. This is my live stream after all, bit of courtesy. That's all I'm asking. Yeah. Sorry I had to kick you out, but you just weren't listening. And unfortunately, it's my live stream. Right, guys, thanks for coming along. I really appreciated everybody that's come in. Ace of Ace, brilliant chat. Yeah, this is Vindicator signing off.